So you're 19 years old, which is young as hell. I love the fact that you've built such a really good platform on Bigo. You have a huge following. You're making great money. You're 19 years old. You were born JV in Stanton, and you were born male and are transitioning into female. By the way, you're very beautiful. And
Yes.
so,
Thank you.
at what age did you know that you were a woman?
I knew I was a woman. When I was like 13 years old, and like all the other, like I always had a strong sense of self my entire life. I knew when I was younger, I was just not like everybody else. I was always the main character. Like all the other boys wanted to play football, smoke weed, and be with the bitch. I'm sorry, can I cuss on here?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, everybody else wanted to be like, playing football, smoking, and be with the bitches. And that was just not for me. Like, I was never a fan. I always thought women were beautiful, but I never was sexually attracted to them. So I think the first thing that came along was my self acknowledgement of the fact that I was not attracted to women. And then once I kind of acknowledged that fact, okay, I don't like girls. And I got more into fashion and I got more into makeup and I started to kind of delve into more feminine things. I kind of noticed like wait, this is kind of sickening. Like makeup is fab, hair is fab. And then I started kind of getting in drags and playing with it. I was doing my own makeup, I was doing my own hair. That's how I built a lot of my following. It was doing makeup and hair, like on live, doing tutorials and stuff. And overall, I started to go out on it and I started to feel more and more comfortable. And I was just like, this is who I want to be.
Mhm.
It
And
was
so,
like trying on a bunch of shoes and you just got that one pair that was like the perfect fit. And I'm like, yeah, this is it.
yeah, the Jordans wasn't working, and then the
No, it
stiletto,
wasn't.
the heel fit a little bit more
It was like, yes,
happy.
guys.
So okay, so you're 13, discovering yourself, and then are you on this journey by yourself? Are you sharing it with family members? Because at the time your father was in prison, right? Was your mother and father in prison, or was
Mhm.
your father in prison?
Okay, so my mom went to jail when I was younger. And she came home, and of course, she got all of us, and I was staying with her. And my dad went to jail when I was around like 11 or 12. And my dad, I never had an absentee father. He was always in my life, he was always around. And then he went to jail, and that was really hard for me. And I had the type of parent where I just didn't really feel comfortable telling her. You know what I'm saying? Like you have kids who keep secrets, not necessarily because they don't want to share, but they keep secrets because they don't feel comfortable tearing their parents certain things. So when it started off is you were mad about me playing with Barbies, I knew you were gonna flip your when you found out that I was gay. So I just didn't tell her. I was by myself living my own life.
JB, you're a very attractive woman, and some would say that you are cis passing, which means that someone could look at you and never know that you are trans. And I feel like a lot of times people grapple with pronouns, and it broke my heart when I saw your mother misgender you several times. Can you speak to the audience about why it's important to respect people's pronouns when they tell you what they are?
It's really kind of just a universal thing. For me, I could never truly understand why it would be so hard to just refer to someone as they're asking to be called. I'm not asking you to come to a trans lives matter rally. I'm not asking you to completely forsake your beliefs. I'm asking you to respect my personhood and who I am. If I identify as female, to refer to me as female. It doesn't kill anybody to be respectful. And I think that is like universal. If everybody could just show a little bit of respect, regardless if you understood or agree with what another person does, I think the world will be a lot better off. And that is clearly something that a lot of people struggle with.
Well, speaking of the misgendering, your mother saw us on Bigo, and this was her reaction to it on her Instagram.
This bitch. I think that what you have done is extremely courageous, and I applaud you. And on the times you feel like you don't have support, you
Hold
have
on.
lots of support.
Hold on, bitch. How you applauding or supporting my son walking around with his ass out on national TV and he's supposed to be the representation of a black man? Huh? Where does the future for Logan lie? And now we see why his daddy got away from you, because your mind ain't right.
So when you see her reaction to what was just a basic conversation, I thought a positive conversation about your personal journey, and her reaction and misgendering you, do you get frustrated and just throw up your hands and say, I'm done with her?
Okay, so I've been done with her. Angela is, in my opinion, mentally ill. I think it's crazy that she throws around that mental illness thing a lot, saying that, oh my God, people who are trans are mentally ill, and look how she acts. Angela is a internet troll. That is essentially what I have equated her to. You're supposed to be a parent. I would refer to her as my parent if she acted like one. I look at Angela like a internet troll. She is it. I'm kind of like at a loss for words every time I see that video. Firstly, because that was, in my opinion, clout chasing at its finest. Tamar didn't even say anything too out of the way. She never disrespected anyone. For her to get online and say all of that about her child and her struggle with suicidal thoughts and just all type of like that, it just shows how much of a piece of person you are. And it shows that your growth and development, not only towards trans people, you're ignorant. You're just ignorant all around the board. You're just an ignorant person. You're just a hateful person. And I don't have no room for that in my life. And she has ignorant, bigoted ass supporters just like her that yes man and greenlight everything she does in the comments, so she thinks it's cute. But I would say pay her enough mind. That's what I do.
Growing up, you said you didn't have the same interests as other little boys. Who was that support system for you when you started to have those other interests? Because clearly it wasn't your mom. Who was there for you when you started to explore these things?
Myself. And I think that is why I'm such a bad bitch these days. Because honestly, as a younger person and having everyone around you not necessarily agree with who you are as a person, it takes a lot of self-love to still reflect and still look in the mirror every day. Mind you, I go to school. I get hate from people at school. They call me gay. I'm this, I'm that. I go to school. I'm fighting and arguing with people at school all day. I come home. I'm fighting and arguing with people at home all day. It takes a lot to still look in the mirror and be like, I validate myself. I love myself. I'm here for what I'm doing. They don't like me. They don't support me. I love me. I support me. And I feel like with me building that foundation, so starting so early, starting so young, these days is nothing someone in the world could tell me because I love and accept myself. You throwing your hate at me doesn't affect me because I have such an in-depth of like self-love. It just wouldn't matter. You can't invalidate me because you didn't validate me to begin with. I don't need you to stamp my passport. I don't need anybody else's approval because I approve of myself and I love who I am. So anything a bitch could say could roll right off my back.
When you look at Zayd Wade and the support that she has from her mom and dad, from Gabrielle Union, from Dwayne Wade, and you look at the support that a lot of people, Michelle Obama, have wrapped their arms around her, and the conversation that she's starting, and you look at your experience with your mother and the lack of support that you've gotten, do you wish you had that kind of support, or do you fall back on the fact that you have been and become a survivor by being able to stand on your own and now nothing can stop you?
Definitely the latter. I think it is a beautiful thing that so many people rally behind Zayd Wade, and I guess in a way it does. You know, like it's a beautiful thing. I wish I had it in a way, but at the same time, I'm glad I didn't because me not having that support made me build support within myself. And once you see it for yourself, and again, I don't want to keep saying the same thing, but once you achieve a certain level of self-love, it's just like you're transcendent to all of the. I'm so glad my childhood was the way it was because it made me, I'm a tank. I'm an iron balloon. It's nothing somebody can say to me. You can't hurt my feelings. You can't make me feel worthless about myself. It prepared me for the world because there was nothing that anybody in this world could ever say to hurt my feelings more than what my own mom said. So if my own mom, the person who's supposed to love you more than anybody else on this planet, was saying, I hope you died, that's why I aborted you, what the you think I care about Tommy, Lynn, and Sue saying it for?
A lot of
That's
people in the community, they go through what you go through. You mentioned that the reason why you call your mother Angela is because she doesn't show up as a parent, so you don't address her as such. But when you watch shows like Pose, we know that in the LGBT community, we do have a chosen family. So do you at least have a chosen family or an ecosystem on a bad day, even when you're a bad bitch, that you just need somebody to be there for you?
100%. Now, I never wanted to say I just did it alone or I don't have anybody because I definitely do. My friends are really my support system. You know what I'm saying? We're here for each other emotionally. One of the hardest times I've ever been through in my life. As you guys know, my dad was murdered about a month and a half ago.
I'm so
And
sorry.
at that point, I felt like really defeated because I don't know, even though I have this self love about myself where I don't feel like I need anyone, one of the people who in my life had always kind of tried to understand me and love me and support me was my father. Now, of course, he was raised in a traditional Black household. He didn't agree with probably being trans or me transition, or he probably didn't agree with it. But he didn't let his hate for what I am overtake his love for who I am. You know what I'm saying? Like, so he
Right.
loved me regardless, even if he didn't necessarily agree with some I did. One of the last conversations we ever had was he kind of just expressed to me that he just wanted to see me happy. And that was one of the most beautiful things in the world, for you to have that type of selfless love towards someone and be like, you know, I don't care what they do. I don't care if it doesn't please me. It's not about me. I just want to see you happy. That was so beautiful. And so for him to be taken away from me, it was really like a hard time in my life. And, my friends were there for me where my mother wasn't. I had one parent just got put in the grave, and the other one was getting her fan base to attack me on Instagram. So that's
Your
that.
father, he went by the name of Decatur Slim. His name was Justin Cody. He was only 39 years old, where he was shot during All Star Weekend out there in Atlanta. And sorry to hear that. I mean, and that is just so recent. Now, your mother, she took to her Instagram, of course, to sound off on your relationship with your dad, and this is what she had to say.
Especially your parent that sacrificed for you, because all of this y'all looking at these videos he making. My daddy was the only person I ever had. I ain't got nobody. How your daddy the only person you ever had? Just did 10 years. He got locked up when you was 10 years old. He just came home last year. Now he dead. How he the only person you ever had?
Now, how hurtful was it for you to see that on her Instagram, where she talked about your relationship with your dad, given how you just described it, and it sounds very different?
That video was kind of the last straw for me. That whole escapade was the point where I really just kind of thought to myself, and I was like, I'm done with her. That was the last one. Just how inconsiderate you have to be to go on your platform in front of hundreds of thousands of people and say like that. Like, first of all, my dad did go to jail when I was 11. We were close prior to him going away. And since my dad had came home from jail, he came home early last year. And he was here for my 19th birthday. The love my dad showed me being out of jail for a year was more impactful than the last 17 years being with Angela. And the fact that she fails to get or understand that is
But do you
baffling to
think
me.
she
Like,
fails? Do you think she fails to get it, or do you think she's jealous because of your relationship with your father, and because you guys did get so close, and because he did accept you, and by accepting you, you loved him back? You know, I mean, was it jealousy? You think?
I mean, maybe a little bit of both. Jealousy, her wanting sympathy points from people. Like, for you to go 2 days after my dad just died and get on social media and try to invalidate my relationship with him in front of thousands of people, like, what the is wrong with you? Like, does that, like, it's just sick. It's just sick, and I won't. Just keep away. Um, she's delusional. She's delusional.
Now,
And that was the last straw with her.
now I could tell that you're strong, and I don't know how I would deal with all this if this was to happen to me. What do you do to process this? How do you protect yourself mentally and emotionally? You know, what are some of the things you do
Um,
to stay sane?
I kind of just keep rolling, you know what I'm saying? And one of the thoughts that always kind of keeps me rolling is every day that you're alive is a chance that it can get better. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Today may be bad, but I'm alive, I'm living, tomorrow may be better. Something beautiful could come in a week. And in my life, I've kind of dealt with a lot of hard stuff and a lot of stress and strife. But a thought that I always keep in my head The problems that I had 2, 3 years ago and the mountains that were in front of me, I thought I would never get over them. You know, like, oh my God, my family doesn't accept me. I want to be who I am. Like, it was just certain things that used to stress me out. And I used to be like so upset and hurt about. And now, 2, 3 years later, I look back on some of the problems that I used to have and I don't even think about them. Like, okay, for you guys, Blue, Damage, Jason, like, think about an issue or something that you just thought was just so world ending, like ending
Mhm.
2, 3 years ago. Like, oh my God, I was just so stressed about this. And then now you look back on it and you just be like, oh girl, whatever. Like you done got past it. So for me, that's kind of what keeps me rolling, is that it gets better and wounds heal over time. And yeah.